Welcome to the official Budhole podcast, bringing you everything you need from sports to entertainment. Now, introducing your host, Scott, the Great Brandino, Gage's Rage, and Star Lamar.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Budhole Podcast, episode number 148. This episode is brought to you by none other than Shock Fantasy and Matt Harrison over at shockfantasy.com. He's hooked us up awesome. With that being said, we have an awesome guest this week, the man, the myth, the legend, Paul Charchian. Paul, how's it going?
It's going well. I didn't know Shock Fantasy was your primary sponsor. I think that's great.
They are one of the two, yeah.
We're also working with Thrive Fantasy. I'm not sure if you've heard anything about them over Twitter, but they are specifically prop bets. So you pick on 10 props between for NFL, there's 10 of them, and then there's 2 ice picks in case they don't play. So, like, is Kirk Cousins going to throw for 3 touchdowns or 3.5 touchdowns? So you pick the over-under.
Yep. I can pick that one.
Yeah. Most of us can. We have bet on Kirk Cousins a couple of times and it has not worked out.
I think the more likely scenario would be 3.5 interceptions.
Yeah, that would be a little better for where we are right now. Yeah, for sure.
Nonetheless, I assume, well, I wouldn't even say assume. I know you're the architect behind Guillotine Leagues, and we are running a Budhole Guillotine League this year.
Awesome.
All of our first Guillotine League we've ever been in. And we got to say, it's a total adrenaline rush. It's fun.
All right. What do you like about it?
The exciting twist on fantasy football, not having your weekly matchups, but just trying to not be the bottom team. You know, it's refreshing. You don't have to be worrying about going up against the number one scorer every week, getting that bad luck when you have a stellar team, but somehow end up facing a better team. Ends up being a pretty good, refreshing taste on fantasy football.
And then, too, this week heading into, wrapping up week six, heading into week 7, the rosters are finally starting to get good. All rosters are good, which is it's exciting.
Yeah, that part's fun. So that relates to the waiver wire. How is the waiver wire gone for you guys? Because most fantasy players, and you guys, do you have any experience with anything like a Guillotine League waiver wire where great players are routinely available every week?
Yeah, normally we're battling to get, Chase Edmonds or LaMichael P. Ryan after somebody goes down or gets traded or whatever the deal is. But now, you're battling for DK Metcalf was what Gage got last week. And who else did you get? Was it Melvin Gordon?
Nick Chubb, actually.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I was able to scoop Nick Chubb for around $61.
Oh, that's a pretty good price. If you're going to have to hold him for another 3 or 4 weeks, but
the risk and reward there, I was playing in my head. I spent a wad on DK Metcalf too. We've been listening to Chop, trying to get some fantasy advice, but sometimes your league shakes out different than the overall for everyone else. So DK Metcalf was on there, and I threw $500 at him. It may hurt, but I successfully made it through his bye week, and I think I got a solid stud wide receiver there. So,
if you've been listening to Chop, that's outside of our comfort zone. But you've got. Here's the thing, though: if you feel like you're going to lose, then you may have to make an aggressive move like that. If you just feel like you've got a wobbly team and you're on the clock, and your week's coming soon, then sometimes you just have to do that.
Yeah. And we've seen Devontae Adams come up, I think, 3 or 4 times on our waiver.
Yep. Injured players or guys on buys are the ones we see a lot of because it hurts teams to not have them.
It does, and we stress that so much in the Chop podcast. And I think if we've given any really good advice for people to listen to, it's been not to invest on these long-term injured players. And you've seen Michael Thomas and Christian McCaffrey just churn rosters, and people were spending huge money to get them because they're because you never get this in real fantasy or regular fantasy, right? You never have a chance to go get Michael Thomas in season or Christian McCaffrey in season. So people are like, I'm spending $600 on him. I'm going to spend $500 on him. And then the next thing you know, he's on your roster for 2 weeks before you get knocked out because you weren't able to get any help and you don't have any money. So yeah, it's a learning experience for everybody. A little trial by fire.
I would say I'm on the cheaper side of things. And I listened to your Loosen the Purse Strings.
Yeah.
and I didn't take the advice as well as I should have. I have a good team, but I haven't spent $1 of fab yet.
Oh, well, that's beautiful.
If
you have a good team and you have fab, that's the easiest way to win this whole thing.
Yeah, I'm sitting up just about 20 points. I have Mahomes, Diggs, and Mecole Hardman in. So I know the game's coming down to the wire here, and the last guy's got Zeke. So I'm a little nervous going into tonight. But
all right, so wait, so you tell me you're second to bottom right now?
No, I am 5th from bottom at the moment.
Okay, all right,
So,
you're safe.
Okay, all right, good. All right,
but it's probably closer than you'd care to have.
Yeah, I don't like being this close to the bottom. Closer to the top is better.
Yeah, no kidding. And, pretty soon, when you get down to 8 teams left, 6 teams left, 4 teams left, you're always near the bottom. You never feel comfortable.
Yes. We just hope we get to the point where you're down to 4. If you get there, it's like whatever.
It is. At that point, trust me, and, and some of you guys will, out of the 4 of you, some of you will. You will feel a real sense of accomplishment when you have watched 13 teams go to the wayside and you're still alive. You're going to feel pretty good about your accomplishment if you just get to the Final 4.
Heck yeah.
Without a doubt.
Would you argue the Final 4 is almost tougher than being in that first 12, losing out in the first 5? Because instead of having to pick between starting T. Higgins on your bench or Laviska Shenault, you're looking at maybe Devontae Adams and Michael Thomas, or DK Metcalf and Adam Thielen.
Harder to set lineups because you really are. You're juggling star player versus star player, and so you'll find yourself at the end of the season benching Ezekiel Elliott because you've got 2 better running backs for that week's matchup. What the hell is this?
That's part of the fun.
It is for sure part of the fun, and it's an experience you can't get any other way except in a Guillotine league.
Yeah, exactly. Fun, exciting. It's new. We love it. So we're going to be doing it again next year. I know that for sure.
No doubt about it.
All right. Already in for next season. I like it.
So we have a segment. It's called Marvel or Mirage. So we're going to give you guys a list of players here. And we want to know whether or not you think that their production is a marvel or if you think it's a mirage and they're going to drop back down to what they've been doing the rest of the season.
Yep.
So we'll start out.
This is a takeoff of our old bit called Trend or Mirage, which we had in the Fantasy Football Weekly print magazine, and then went to Fantasy Football Weekly radio, and then went through KFAN for a while. If you ever heard that phrase, Trend or Mirage, years ago. So this sounds very much like that same kind of premise, right? Is this thing you're going to describe a trend or is it a mirage?
Correct.
Now, we didn't have the fancy alliteration that you guys came up with. That's the kind of stuff that you only get on the Budhole.
That's right.
Brilliant alliteration.
Yes.
All right. So we'll start out. Deshaun Watson without Bill O'Brien. Is he Marvel or Mirage?
Deshaun Watson, Marvel or Mirage without Bill O'Brien. Paul Charchian, what do you think?
Well, he's always been a marvel, right? So I think all he had to do mostly was get through the tough part of his schedule. And he had been a marvel under Bill O'Brien. So I think I object to the general line of questioning because I don't think that part is. Bill O'Brien's responsible for most of their woes, but not all of them. He was good under Bill O'Brien. I think mostly just the schedule was too much for him before, and now we're seeing a return to a player I like a lot. Now this particular week, I just wrote about him moments ago. This is a particularly tricky matchup with the Green Bay secondary. So I don't know if I love him so much, right? So you look at what Tom Brady was able to succeed against Green Bay, basically not even using his wide receivers, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So can Deshaun Watson thrive without Will Fuller or Brandon Cooks? I'm not as sure. That he might need to run. He might need to run in this game, but that's what we got him for anyway, right?
He needs to score like 24-ish because he's my quarterback in the Guillotine League. So
all right,
whatever he does, he just needs to score over 20.
24. 24 is a lot. That's kind of a big ask, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's true. We'll say 20.
That's playing him in that Marvel category for me.
All right.
I would as well. We'll move on. We'll start with Star Lamar. Is Travis Fulgham Marvel or Mirage?
I believe he's a mirage. I think that their wide receivers on the Philadelphia Eagles are kind of interchangeable each week of who's going to have the big game. They still haven't gotten Rager back. he could be that number one guy when he comes back. I don't really like the no-name guys until I see it happen. For consistency, I need proof of concept. I think I need to see it 1 or 2 more weeks before I can call him a marvel.
I would agree. I'm a Mirage on Fulgham too, but I haven't been on the bandwagon, and he's been doing nothing but putting up numbers. So I am a Mirage.
I was able to sneakily add him and get one more good week out of him in the Guillotine Chopper League. So I don't know. I think there's a definite void for pass catchers in Philadelphia. They were going up against a really good Baltimore defense last week, and he was still able to put a couple scores. I like the way they're using him too. They're throwing high jump balls and letting him go up there and show his athleticism. So I think I'd maybe more lean Marvel.
Charch?
I'm taking Marvel. Everybody in Philly loves him. He's got good size, and with Zach Ertz out for a month, Dallas Goedert's still out. Even if Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson come back by Thursday, which is possible, he's still the go-to receiver on this team. And they've already proven that they like that kid a lot, to send a lot of work his direction. Look at the targets the last 2 weeks, 13 targets and 10 targets. That's crazy. Meanwhile, Starr needs somebody to prove it for 1 month before he's ready to get on board. If that's your attitude in fantasy football, I don't know how you can win anything, because you're a month behind everything. By the time everybody knows it, you're the last guy on board.
He's already scooped up in every league.
I still have Kenyon Drake in my starting lineup, Charch.
Well,
so I have to prove good and bad for a month before
I understand. I guess so.
Right. I'm going to roll with Marvel as well. I think once you start earning the trust of your quarterback, like he's done with Carson Wentz, and he's targeting him a lot, that means he likes him. I think he's going to continue to target him even after players come back. Plus 3 weeks in a row with a touchdown. I like that. And it was against 2 good teams, the Ravens and the Steelers. So I'm going to call him a Marvel.
There you go. Offensive line is so bad that they could have they could have a 0. They could get shut out. Nobody'd be surprised. But I think he's a player. Long term, he is a player.
Yeah, and even if it comes in garbage time, they're real points in fantasy.
That's all we care about, baby.
And we'll finish it off. We'll go with Chase Claypool. Is he a Marvel or Mirage? Gage?
I'll jump on this one. I think I'm going to lean more Mirage with this one. Pittsburgh receivers generally have flashy weeks. He's gotten a lot of the red zone targets. They're definitely coming at a time with injured starters ahead of him. Deontay Johnson out again last week. It's tough to say, because Juju is definitely a guy that prefers to be a number 2. He likes the slot, and obviously with Antonio Brown for most of his career. I'm pretty hard on Juju, but I don't think Claypool is that guy for me.
I'll go next because I'm on the exact opposite side of this. I'm all in on Marvel with Chase Claypool. Pittsburgh knows how to draft wide receivers. They drafted him. He's 6'4". He's fast. He's the next big thing. I think they're actually going to let Juju Smith-Schuster walk at the end of this season, and Claypool's going to step in and be that Batman or Robin to Deontay Johnson's Batman or Robin. So I like Claypool. He's a Marvel. I like him a lot.
I'm going Marvel. I think he's Martavis Bryant without the character concerns. He's big, he's fast, he can catch the ball, he can run. They're getting it to him through the air and handing it off to him. A lot of red zone shares. I think he's here to stay. I know it's contradictory to my Fulgham take, but I like him. He's on my team.
Chase Claypool's awesome. He was awesome in college. He's, for a guy his size, he has no business having the athleticism and the leaping ability that he's got. He can box out other receivers. He's going to emerge as the go-to receiver and the best receiver on that team. Juju Smith-Schuster's getting destroyed right now because the confidence that Ben's got in him. Although I'll mention this, Juju's got a really nice matchup this week, and I think he's potentially sitting on a good game this particular weekend. I've been saying the same thing that you guys just mentioned since preseason, that Chase Claypool was going to force Juju Smith-Schuster out of town at the end of this year. They're not going to pay him, and no team walks away from wide receivers like the Steelers do, and they're going to walk away from Juju rather than pay him big money in free agency. So I'm in on Chase Claypool. I think they're going to keep working with him, and don't forget Deontay Johnson, who's also very good. That to me might have been the tougher question. Is Deontay Johnson a trend or mirage?
There you go.
Sorry, Marvel or mirage.
I'm going to go with the same thing. I'm going to call Chase Claypool a marvel. Going into the dynasty draft that we had this offseason, I was looking into him a lot, and there's a lot of good things said about him: size, speed, athletic ability. So I was able to pick him up. I was hoping for this type of output, and I'm glad that I'm seeing it. I think that he's going to be able to continue it, especially with Big Ben throughout the rest of this year and next year. The only thing that concerns me is they do have Juju and Deontay on that team, who are both very good players and who can see the same type of target share that Claypool's getting. But I think with what we've seen the last 2 weeks, and I know we had another good week, it was like week 2, he put up like 15 or 17 points. I think that he's a marvel and that this trend will continue. Star?
I think you had a question for Charch, right?
Oh, I do. So we have probably one of the best rookie wide receiver classes that we've seen in several years, probably since 2014. You got the Jeffersons, the Ruggs, the Judys, the Claypools, all the way down the board. Higgins, Chenaults,
Lamb.
In a dynasty league, what are your top 3 rookie wide receivers look like so far going forward?
Well, you have to have CeeDee Lamb in. You have to have Justin Jefferson in. I think those two are probably the 2 most obvious out of that group. And for the third, boy, there's a plethora of good choices. I love what I'm seeing out of T. Higgins. And if I project going forward, the part I love about T. Higgins is I know who his quarterback is for like the rest of his career.
Yep.
That's so helpful for any quarterback. I can't tell you who Justin Jefferson's quarterback is going to be next year.
Right.
And were it not for his amazing talent, I think I might even throw him out of this conversation. But yeah, I think I'm going to go T. Higgins here just because I think Joe Burrow is so good, so young. And you just feel like that's going to be Matt Ryan to Julio Jones for a decade. Joe Burrow to T. Higgins. So I think I'm going to go T. Higgins as my third guy in this. And I think the other 2 are pretty much self-explanatory.
Yep.
That's well said. Speaking of dynasty leagues, we actually had a talker last week about DK Metcalf. He's kind of exploding in his sophomore season. Scott, I think, had the take that he would take DK 101 in a dynasty startup draft. And I was on the side of taking a running back, and the player I named was Jonathan Taylor. We just wanted your 2 cents on a dynasty startup. Do you like the running back position, or would you go with a DK Metcalf?
We need you to pay off a Budhole bet, Charch.
Well, you're talking to do the opposite guy here. You know that, right? So,
so that's why I wanted to make sure this got brought up.
Right. Running backs come and go. All you have to do is look at your running back rankings from 3 years ago and how there's only about 2 guys that are still in common with, this year's top 10. Those guys, you can just churn through running backs. They come, they go. You can, if you are an active owner, you can find Mike Davis. That helps you for 6 weeks. You can always, it's so easy to find help at running back because they just churn so much. I got good receivers like Julio Jones, who I just mentioned. You get a decade of run on, a decade. And in the case of DK Metcalf, he's set at the quarterback position for, another 7, 8, 9 years. So I love the DK Metcalf angle. I think that makes a ton of sense to be the first overall pick. And I would certainly go there before I go with the running back if I'm thinking long term. I mean, if for some reason my dynasty league, I'm only thinking about the next year, then, maybe I would change my answer, but I'm not. So yeah.
Oh, we call that
good job, Gage.
We call that vindication. That's called vindication.
Great takes.
All right.
Yes.
We know you're short on time, so if you have a few more minutes, we do have a game. We call it the Budhole 5. So if you'd like to sit through, it takes about 2 minutes to finish up.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. If it's 2 minutes, then let's do it.
All right.
You will want a pen and paper handy or your cell phone to take notes.
Yep.
I have a computer in front of me. I will type my notes.
That'll be perfect.
All right.
All right.
It is now time to play Budhole 5.
You heard the lady. It is now time to play the Budhole 5.
That was no lady. That's a robot lady.
Alexa.
We don't discriminate. Everybody knows the rules, but I'll explain them anyway.
I think that was Star's sex doll.
She has a name. Thank you very much.
It's LaToya.
It's Lady.
You have 30 seconds
35
to name the top 5 in whatever category I give you. Could be sports, video games, movies, etc. You get a point for each correct answer. If there is a tie, we will go into a 30-second tiebreaker round for items 6 through 10. The time starts after I read the first question. Since we were talking about rookie wide receivers and rookies in general, I want you to give me, through week 6 so far, not including the Monday night games, I want the top scoring fantasy rookies through 6 weeks in full point PPR. The top 5 fantasy scoring rookies through 6 weeks.
Any position, correct?
All positions.
Okay.
Fantasy. They have eliminated the need to do countless hours of research because they only ask you about the top tier athletes in a respective sport. Each prop has a fantasy point total associated with the over-under based on its likelihood to occur. So the more points a selection is worth, the riskier it is. Rack up the most points to win your share of the prize pool. Use promo code BUD, B-U-D, when you sign up today, and you will receive an instant $20 bonus on your first deposit of $20 or more.
There it is.
All right, that's the timer. You heard it. We will start with Star Lamar on this one. Who are the top 5 scoring fantasy rookies in full point PPR?
Yeah. Justin Jefferson, Chase Claypool, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and CeeDee Lamb.
Gage's Rage?
I also had Jefferson, Claypool, and Burrow, but I added Jonathan Taylor and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Scott?
I have Burrow, Herbert, Justin Jefferson, Edwards-Helaire, and CeeDee Lamb.
And Charch?
I have Lamb, Jefferson, Robinson, Claypool, and Higgins. I don't think Higgins is in, but I had Higgins.
Ooh, we do have a winner, and it is Star Lamar wins with 4 correct answers. Charch, Scott, and Gage all got 3. The top 5, James Robinson with 101.9, Justin Jefferson 101.7, Joe Burrow 101.3,
dang it.
Justin Herbert 90.3, and Chase Claypool 88.6.
Son of a gun.
It was a good game, Charch.
I had Herbert written down, and I swapped him at the last minute for Higgins. I'm like,
You overthought it, Charch.
Because he had the game on bye. I'm like, I'm going to put Herbert on. Oh, wait, he had a bye. I bet that bye was enough to cost him. Wait, it wasn't points per game. It was total points, right?
Total points, yes.
Yeah, dang it. Oh, well.
Well, if you listen to the podcast, you learn that there's nothing new losing to Star Lamar. These boys are used to it.
He is the overall winner right now on the Budhole 5 standings.
He's got a few points.
I'm the only one who hasn't lost to him.
When it comes to fantasy, that's another question.
Well, when this thing comes around to board games, I am gonna crush you guys.
Say, Church, actually, the Buds, we're big fans of video games as well. And I was wondering if I could pick your brain about the new consoles real quick.
Yes.
Yes, he goes.
We obviously have the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. I'm more of a casual gamer. Would you suggest investing in one of the new systems or throwing it into the Master Race PC?
Well, if you're a casual gamer, you shouldn't go PC. I don't think, because the cost is too high and the difficulty is too high. So as much as I love it, that's where I do most of my gaming. I just think for casual players, you're better off with a console. You just put the disc in and the thing works, and it's just so much easier. So that's what I'd recommend. But once you make the jump, man, PC is so much better. So many more games, and you can mod your games, and you can get such a better gaming experience. Hook it up to your home theater at just like you can a console. Looks better, runs better. It's just harder and more expensive.
There you go.
That's all.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing before we let you go, we were just wondering, when a group called the Budhole reaches out to you, what are you thinking? And, what makes you say yes to something like that?
Well, I just assumed it was going to be extremely gay, and I was ready for that, and that's fine. We support your decision. I want you to know that, the 4 of you are totally cool with that.
All right.
Thanks,
well,
Paul.
that is how devoted I am to the cause. I want to help you guys.
A true trailblazer.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate it. We love your work. We listen every Friday. We
Tuesdays,
the Fantasy
Fridays,
Football Weekly
Saturdays.
on Saturdays and Video
We
Game
catch you
Weekly. We love your work. We appreciate it. Keep it up.
Thanks, guys. It was a lot of fun. We'll talk to you later.
Yep.
All right,
Thanks,
have a good one.
Okay.
There it is. That was the one, the only Paul Charchian on the Budhole. It doesn't happen every day that you get absolute godfather of fantasy football.
Holy shit, I am geeking out still.
That was a lot of fun, and Star Lamar's sex doll just sounds more and more interesting every day.
There's a couple things that established, and we'll get them out of the way before we go to a commercial and get into the rest of the show. Number one, Star Lamar's sex doll sounds pretty hot.
The Budhole 5.
And number two, I guess it's official. We're all gay. So
we knew it, but we just didn't have it confirmed.
Confirmed by the one and only Paul Charchian.
So we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back at it on the Budhole Podcast. We are back from our commercial break. Thank you again to Paul Charchian. Let's get on with the rest of the show. We'll go into some top injuries of the weekend first, which include none other than Raheem Mostert, which he's probably going to the IR with an ankle injury. Hold up here. I got to pull up the injuries. Here we go. Raheem Mostert, ankle. He's probably on the IR. Jonnu Smith went out in the third quarter with an IR. Sorry,
Ankle
not an
injury?
IR. Ankle injury. Yep.
A slight sprain, right?
Slight sprain is the rumor, yep. Mark Ingram went out with an ankle. He came back into the game for a little while. Then he went back out. So we'll see how he goes. Devontae Parker, groin injury, which seems to be a continuing thing with him. He's always fighting through injuries. A little bit worrisome if you're a Parker owner. Miles Sanders, knee. Sounds like he's headed to the IR. So Boston Scott's a big-time pickup in fantasy waiver wires.
Without a doubt.
And Zach Ertz, ankle as well. And it does not... Really quick, too, regarding Sanders and Ertz. The Eagles play Thursday night, so I would not expect either of them to suit up and play. But those are kind of the injuries for the weekend. It rounds it all out. So not a bad weekend for injuries, but there's a few talkers.
Do you guys think this Ertz injury has been long-term, just a long time coming?
I think, I hate projecting and saying, a player's due.
No, not a player's due, but his production has definitely not been the...
So was it a
tight end
nagging
3 or
injury
4
that
has been
got super aggravated this week and they decided to pull him out?
Okay,
Yes.
I see where you're going. Maybe.
What was his injury again?
Ankle injury, which I would say no if it's an ankle.
It's possible he could have, tweaked it or something, but I don't know. He just hasn't been playing well this year.
That would actually... He was pulled from the game against Baltimore?
Ertz was, yes.
Okay. Yeah, because he was not on the field late when they were mounting that comeback.
So they lost Ertz and Miles Sanders.
And then the offense came alive against a really good team.
Travis Fulgham.
But yeah, so that's injuries. Brandon, you got a couple more games you want to kick around? Players, top scorers?
Yeah, I mean, I just grabbed the top 5 at each position besides tight end because I didn't get to that part.
Fuck tight end.
Deshaun Watson was the leading quarterback scorer this week. He put up 32 points, outscoring his projection by 12. He's actually QB5 on the season right now. Dak is still QB3, believe it or not. He's averaging 21.7 points a game. I know we kind of talked about whether or not he was Marvel or Mirage in the Charch segment, so we won't dive too much into that one here. Matt Ryan was actually the second highest quarterback this week. I don't know if somebody maybe called him a stud this week. Was that me?
That one would have hit.
Did I call him a stud this week?
You did, and actually you had a good week on that. We'll get into the numbers here in a little
that
bit.
one absolutely hit.
Great Brandino.
He
It felt
slaughtered
good.
The Vikes.
He was projected 18, almost 19 points, and he put up 31 and a half. This is his best week by far this year. Ryan Tannehill continues to dominate. He put up his second above 30-point game, and I think this was his highest of the season. He could have scored one less point last week. Would have been great. And then Carson Wentz was a stud as well. He put up 29 and a half points. It kind of shows how volatile the quarterback situation is. I think he's now QB 12, I think is what it is.
Really quick regarding Tannehill, I think he's officially the type of guy you can be comfortable putting in as a starting quarterback in a 12-team league every single week.
I think now that A.J. Brown is healthy, absolutely.
Yeah, with a full weapon set, I like Tannehill as a starter every single week.
But Gage, would you rather have him or Philip Rivers? Are you going to eat?
From me.
Are you going to eat your feet on that one?
Phillip Rivers just
hold my beer, Star.
Eat your feet.
I was on the
feet.
Star. I was on the Ryan Tannehill bandwagon for quite a while.
Gage, don't even try to pull that shit.
Star, we did this last week. I don't need to do it again. All right,
Gage. Everybody heard you say it loud and clear.
Phillip Rivers is better
Are you just getting paid
than
the bet now?
Tannehill.
What bet?
Phillip Rivers versus Ryan Tannehill, QBR.
I don't know what he's talking about. Do you guys know what he's talking about?
I think he's talking about when he was saying Phillip Rivers is going to have a better QBR than Ryan Tannehill this year.
I heard Gage say it. Gage was saying Ryan Tannehill is bad since last year, and he changed his tune at the beginning of the season.
I don't want to be here, all right? We're going to do some shitty eating contest because you two can't say no to your wives.
Which we'll
I'm
post
about
to
to
YouTube
leave.
later. Which we'll post to YouTube later.
I will.
I'm fucking out of here.
I'm done with this shit. Star got abused by Charchian online. We just saw some verbal bullying through our webcast.
And it was nonetheless a guy we invited on.
We invited him to bully our beloved Star, okay?
So take a little bit of heat here. Star.
Yeah, take the load off
There's
of Star
nothing.
a little.
Your feet are on the fire right now, and
Listen,
you guys
dude,
can't stand
okay.
it. Tannehill isn't bad.
Gage,
That's
you
fair.
have no reason to be that upset. Phillip Rivers threw 3 touchdowns too.
He'd
had a
comeback
nice week.
win.
Yeah, after he threw how many interceptions?
It doesn't
That's
matter.
not important, dude.
We don't count those.
Plus, I didn't bet on Phillip Rivers. You did. I'm okay
You
with
are
it.
the one who bet. Oh my!
All right. Anyways, back to Carson Wentz. He went from QB 18 to QB 10 after this 30-point week.
What phone is that?
It's
my computer dinging when the messages come through, and I don't know how to change it, so let's just let it ride.
Well, it's annoying.
It's so annoying.
Well, go mute it then.
Well, I'd have to get up and move.
I don't know how Apple
Just
works.
hit the mute.
You have Apple. But I think it goes to show how volatile the quarterback situation is and why you don't
Now,
pay
should be okay?
high to get a quarterback in the draft, and that's because one good week moves a guy up 8 slots in the quarterback situation. He's now a QB1 on the year.
Carson Wentz?
Yeah, he's ranked 10th.
He's a QB1, like a
Okay.
starter.
Yes.
Not QB1.
No, you
Well-
should just say he's a starting quarterback on the year.
Yeah.
Because QB1 gets you to look like Star just had. Star was
He's
just
not
like, are you
QB1.
fucking kidding me?
It's the difference
Josh Allen
between
is QB1.
there's RB1s and there's RB2s. RB1s are top 12.
Yeah, but you're
Carson Wentz is
using
top
a
12.
plural now. Before you said QB1.
Yeah.
But I
he's
wouldn't
a
say-
quarterback one. Like, he's a starting quarterback.
Yeah,
He's
in fantasy.
a starting quarterback.
He's not the QB1.
Yeah.
I didn't say he was the
You said he's a
QB1.
QB1.
He's a QB1.
Okay.
Here's the deal.
Next guy.
All right. Fuck you guys. Lamar Jackson. He hasn't been getting it done through the air, but the ground has been good enough, putting up almost 29 points this week. He's averaging 58 yards on the ground.
He did have a 58-yard touchdown. That really helped him a lot.
He's a QB's one. Does that sound right? Is that better?
He's a starting caliber quarterback.
Getting into our duds of the week, and we're going to start from the best of the worst and get to the worst of the worst. Teddy Bridgewater, under 10 points. Tough matchup against the Bears. He did not play very well. Joe Flacco, no surprise there, under 6 points. But that was against Miami, so it's a little sad. Baker Mayfield got pulled. I think it was in the second half. 119 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Big Balls case came in, kind of saved the day. Not really. They still lost 38-7. And then second to last, Aaron Rodgers. God, it feels good
God,
to
it was
say.
so beautiful. I'm so glad I got that wrong on the Pick'em segment, which we'll address next podcast. But God, it was so fun watching Green Bay get beat like that.
160 yards and 2 picks, no touchdowns. It was pitiful. Feels good.
And one was a pick six, which I think
It
he's
was.
only been intercepted for a pick six his 3rd time of his career.
The other one was a yard short of a pick six as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Oh, you went
so
down at the
close.
1?
Yeah.
So
Oh
he
my
almost
gosh.
doubled his pick sixes in one game for his entire career.
That would have been even better.
Yep.
And then the worst of the worst for starting quarterbacks this week was none other than Drew Lock. He got 3.46 points.
And Star picked him for a dud.
Sure did.
Star hit that.
That's a hell of a hit right there. You can't dud it any better than that. Moving on, we'll just kind of rattle off the running backs. Derrick Henry led the way. I think he had a 94-yard touchdown run to cap off 2 touchdowns on the day and like 212 rushing yards.
And he also led the way to you getting your 2nd win of the season in fantasy in the Friends League.
We'll see. We're not quite there yet.
Okay,
I don't
sorry.
like to count my chickens before they hatch. I did that last week. Star Lamar sexdolled me.
Is it not official? Like, it's a done deal, is it not? Or is it
No.
you have a real chance?
He's got-
you have Kenyon Drake still?
Kenyon Drake and Kyler Murray.
I have
Okay.
DeAndre Hopkins, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, but you're up 22.
Yeah.
Yes.
If Kenyon can clear that, that's the only way I have a chance. And then have Kyler keep up with DeAndre.
Okay.
Right now, Derrick Henry with this week, RB5, with his bye week already happening. Second place, DeAndre Swift. What do you guys think about DeAndre going forward? He got 16 carries, which was, I think, the most he's had all season by 10. And he had a couple catches. He put up like...
Do you mean, is he going to be a...
Is it a turning of the tides? Is he going to be Marvel or Mirage?
I'm in on Swift. You look at the split counts on snaps, right? And him and Peterson were on the field for the same amount of snaps. Difference being, Swift was on the field for 27 snaps, and in those 27 snaps, he touched the football 18 times.
Wow.
That's a usage rating. We talk about with Shock Fantasy, the usage rating or whatever. The workload. That's the type of workload you want to see out of a running back in this time of the season who hasn't had a lot of work. Give me DeAndre Swift for the rest of the year. I'm buying.
I agree with Scott quite a bit there. I've been high on Swift. He was the running back I liked the most out of college. The only thing I didn't like was the situation. And if you were telling me he was competing with washed-up Adrian Peterson for touches, I'd buy that.
I think he's a marvel. I think moving forward, he's going to be a very good player.
DeAndre Swift?
I like him.
Do you
I
like
don't
him or like him?
Is he a Marvel or Mirage?
I don't think he's going to put up that many points every week. I think he could. I think they're going to continue to split that backfield. So I'm still holding off starting him every week.
A Marvelage?
I think he's got the ability to.
He
just has to wait.
Marvelage.
He has to wait for the coach to give him that job.
Which, good luck, right? Patricia is more Belichick than Belichick when it comes to running backs. So we'll see.
Next highest, Ronald Jones, just a hair over 26 points. His third game in a row getting over 100 rushing yards on the ground. He's averaging 5.5 yards a carry right now. He's starting to solidify himself as a productive fantasy running back week in, week out. I think he's RB12 right now. Last week we talked about would he finish high in RB2, low in RB1. I think we hit that.
Ronald Jones is kind of starting to become that player that we'll say in a dynasty league you drafted, you've had through thick and thin. It's been a lot of thin. It's getting to be more and more thick, but he's starting to pay off his bet that you drafted him at, and he's starting to become a real legitimate running back.
That was me. Unfortunately, we're not playing in the dynasty league this year, but I do have him.
That's not worth mentioning to listeners. I don't need emails asking why we're not, okay? COVID cancel culture.
All right. Next highest was James Conner, 17.2. He's sitting at RB16 right now. And then Myles Gaskin put up 16.6. He was the fifth highest scoring running back. He's at RB15. Who do you think is going to finish higher, Gaskin or Conner?
Give me Conner. I'm just not a believer in Miami's offense. Pittsburgh's rolling. They're winning games. They're getting up on people. Got a solid defense. Good position for a running back.
I'm buying Myles Gaskin. His one, we come back again. What is it? Usage rate? Workload. When we're talking about workload, Myles Gaskin is the only guy that's getting touches in Miami from the running back position, other than Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick is running too, but
he was the leading rusher last year.
Right. But you look at Pittsburgh, they're giving Claypool touches. They have Connor, obviously. Benny Snell they still have, and then they have the rookie. God, what's his name? I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they have a rookie. Or is Benny Snell the one I'm thinking?
Benny Snell is the rookie.
Is Benny Snell the rookie?
I don't think he's a rookie, though.
No, Benny Snell's not a rookie. They have
a
rookie.
wide receiver?
No, he's a running back.
Yeah.
Chase Claypool?
Yeah, okay. I'm buying Gaskins
I'm
as
trying
well.
to remember who the hell it was.
I mean, Jordan Howard's getting healthy scratches.
Matt Breida.
He's not really doing much, though. He's not doing much for me. So I think that he's going to be the main guy getting the touches moving forward. They may be playing from behind, but I think they're still going to be running the ball.
Anthony McFarland. So Anthony McFarland gets some touches too, back in the backfield. Regarding Gaskin, Breida's been active, but Jordan Howard has now been 2 weeks in a row a healthy scratch. Inactive both weeks as he's been healthy.
And Le'Veon Bell had them as a destination that he wanted to go, and they didn't even look at him. They believe in Gaskin.
I think so, too.
I just don't think they want to mess with the chemistry of their team because they do have a tight-knit team right now. And they're on top of the AFC East. Well, sorry, no, they're not. Buffalo is. But they're ahead of New England, and they're in the playoff hunt.
Moving on to the running back duds, Mike Davis was one of the bigger ones, 21.4 points projected. He only got 11.5, so 10 points under what he was supposed to. Damian Harris was a dud. People were expecting more out of him this week, 4.5 points. Devontae Freeman as well, about half his projection. He didn't play well at all. I think I called him a dud this week.
Yes, you did.
I think I did. So hit on that one as well. But you can kind of argue who the two bigger duds out of these two. But I think we all know the real answer. Kareem Hunt and Alexander Madison, both projected above 18. Madison got 4. Hunt got 7.7.
Bad week for both of them. Cleveland had a bad week, period. The Browns had a bad week. The Browns were starting to get me to buy in on them, and then they go in Cleveland Brown. They lay a Brown.
There's a lot of blame being put on Baker for all of it, too.
That's fair enough.
He's holding the team back. Sorry,
Absolutely is holding the team back.
Was this game played in Pittsburgh or in Cleveland?
Pittsburgh.
So, I mean, it was an away game for the Cleveland Browns.
You still can't just throw it out, though, because it's not like there's many fans, if any. I don't know what Pittsburgh's situation is.
They actually got fans for the first time.
Was
so
that
they were
game?
pretty excited.
Okay.
Also, a division game on the road. It's always tough for us to go into Chicago as Minnesota Vikings fans. So, when they come back to Cleveland, it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. I don't lose faith losing to a undefeated Pittsburgh team, or they have one loss?
Undefeated.
Yeah. I don't lose faith losing a division game on the road to an undefeated team.
So, I mean, Baker has yet to put up, I think, over 250 yards through the air this year. I mean, he's been playing bad. You look at fantasy-wise, he hasn't broken 15.5 points at all. And this was like, what did I put down for Baker? 5.26. I mean, he's playing pitifully. He's not putting up high touchdowns. He's not throwing for a lot of yards. I know they're a run-first team, but he's not the guy that you want, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
I would blame him. I am blaming him.
I think you're breezing right over Alexander Madison here. And
I wasn't trying to avoid him.
Okay.
He played very, very bad.
I think it was you who was telling me the only two players that were better plays this week were Ezekiel Elliott and
Derrick Henry. I was quoting Matthew Berry's tweet.
Oh.
So I didn't say that myself. I did think he was a solid play this week. Don't get me wrong. I was touting him up on the mailbag. I thought he was a good play.
Did he get your studs blog post?
He did not. Not my blog
post. He posted 6 stud running backs, and he wasn't one of them.
Nope.
We didn't even play him.
I didn't play him, and I made the right call.
By the way,
I forgot to plug him in over Jonathan Taylor, and guess what? It worked out.
No, you didn't forget. It was obviously
it was strategic, mental brain fart. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to play well when your quarterback throws 3 interceptions, let alone 1 on the very first play of the game.
Totally.
So, I mean, it's hard to get the run game going when you're playing from behind. But nonetheless, he was projected to be very, very good this week, and he was very, very bad.
He was my stud of the week at running back, so I missed on Madison, and I'll own it. I missed.
How did Brock Thomas do?
He might have put up more points, actually.
He officially delivered 8 pizzas during the noon game slot. He was an 8-pizza deliverer.
Did I Kareem Hunt my dud?
Yes, you did.
You totally hit the dud.
Really quick regarding the studs and duds, because we're talking about it. Austin Hooper was picked. I don't remember who, but somebody picked him as a dud, one as a stud. Or was he a dud for both of you two?
He might have been a dud for both of us.
Nonetheless, he was exactly on his projected number. So so we could workshop it really fast, but what I did was I called it a wash both. I didn't call it a wash. I called it a miss.
Yeah, it's a miss. You don't hit below your projected ESPN total.
But the funny thing is, he would have been a miss both ways.
Yeah, that's just a lose. That's like you're on blackjack and they have the over 13, under 13.
Yeah.
If you bet that and it's 13 exact, you lose.
Yep.
You don't get your money back.
So I just wanted to...
Don't tell me what I'm going to do.
No, I just wanted to make sure that was known for everybody. That was funny. The Austin Hooper was a miss, period. We'll have to watch for a stat correction, but I'm not going to.
I was just going to say 1 yard stat correction.
I'm not going to look for it. I like it.
Moving on to wide receivers because fuck you. Justin Jefferson, the rookie, topped out the wide receiver group, getting almost 40 points, 39.6. Julio Jones in the same game, 33.7. And then a sharp fall off to Will Fuller, 24.3. Brown and Cooks, A.J. Brown, that is, both got somewhere in low 20s, 22, 21. Are you guys buying the long-term productivity out of Justin Jefferson? Because I am.
Yeah, he definitely looks like the rookie to own out of this draft class. Garbage time be its own thing, but he is athletic, he is a baller, and he's got one of the best touchdown dances out there.
The gritty? Is that what it is?
Starts with a G. Giddy.
Is that what it is? Giddy?
Something like that. I don't know.
As the G-man of the group.
It's a giddy?
Yep.
Okay, well, I mean, I had an R. Whatever. Gritty.
They both work.
Oh.
It's whatever.
You missed one rookie wide receiver that got a touchdown on 100% of his targets this last week. That was Tyler Johnson for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep, he did not make the top 5, but he did play very well, and that was exciting to see. I watched that live.
Got first of his young career, first of many.
I hope so.
Let's get Tyler Johnson on the show.
Let's reach out to him.
Do your Twitter magic.
I'll get on my knees again. I have no problem doing it.
He's done it before. He'll do it again. Brandon Cooks had another good week. One thing I did note in my mailbag, and I think I included, maybe I did Fuller, but Brandon Cooks should have been a start this past week because the Titans led up, I think it's to whoever's ranked second. It's not the number 2 wide receiver, but whoever tends to be ranked second on the team they're playing, they led up more points to. So he was top 5, and they did it again.
Perfect for Houston because they have all wide receiver 2s.
Bazinga.
Fuller, Fuller, Cobb, and Cooks, all wide receiver 2s. And they all scored, didn't they?
Looking for it. I don't know if they all scored. Moving on, we'll go to the wide receiver duds, and this will kind of wrap up the segment. Juju, 2.6 points. Cooper Kupp, 4.6 points. Devontae Adams was a big one. He was projected over 20, and he only got 12.5. It's hard when your quarterback doesn't throw any touchdowns and only 160 yards.
And two interceptions.
You're a pathetic loser.
And then Mike Evans, he only got 2 points, and OBJ 4.5. So if you started any of those guys, you're going to have a bad time.
You're going to have a bad time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yep. Star Lamar might
Just
have
think
a good
about
time.
the poor, pathetic Devontae Adams owners, though. They get him back this week, and they're like, all right, let's go. He's been out for 3 weeks, had his bye week. We're rolling, and he lays a 12.
I will say a 12 isn't that bad.
It's not a team killer.
But when he's your number 1 wide receiver, a 12 is not good.
Yeah.
Madden had him going off for 3 touchdowns.
Well, glad Madden was wrong.
Madden's actually wrong a lot.
It's pretty rough.
We should do the Budhole simulation each week. Because screw Madden. We'll just pick the teams and what the scores are. Because we'll probably be just as accurate.
Butthole versus Madden.
That's a good bit right there.
We'll all divvy up the games every week. We'll split the games 4 ways. We'll pick the ones we get, and then we'll go against Madden. Let's do it.
Pick differently than studs and duds.
We'll do it next year, I should say.
This is what I'll do. I'll write down my picks, and then you just say the reverse of whatever.
That's what I should do. That's what's been working out so far this year. It's been a rough ride. But yeah, that's we can move into mailbag right now.
Okay, yeah, let's get into the mailbag review, which currently, just to give you a quick percentage updates, because we do the mailbag on Sundays, we decided we need to pay it off, give you the numbers, which you can actually go and look if you go to officialbudhole.com. We do have a graph that shows the actual standings so far, but nonetheless, Brandon's at 59% throughout the year. I'm at 52%. Star fell to 47% over the week, and Gage is at 38%. Is that what that says?
Yep.
38%.
You're consistent, though.
Gage is hanging
Right
in there.
around 3%.
And the rest of us are kind of just treading around that 55-ish% mark. So that is the mailbag review.
Again, check it out on officialbudhole.com. Otherwise, do you guys have any bud plugs of the week? I mean,
I think one bud plug would be
up.
DeAndre Swift. I'd look to add him if I could. Other than that, Fulgham, if he's still out there, go get him. That's about all I have, though, for those guys. Boston Scott, Adam with Miles Sanders going on the IR. That's all I got.
Jerick McKinnon should be rostered already.
If he's not rostered, go get Jerick McKinnon. Yep, that's the Bud plugs.
And Tyler Johnson.
And, of course, add Tyler Johnson, especially in Dynasty Leagues.
Tie on tie.
Tie on tie. With that being said,
go jerk off.
Bye. Check out our website, www.officialbudhole.com. We're on all socials @officialbudhole. Please leave us a rating and review on Apple Music.